Hello, math friends. We're going to go ahead and check out a practice test for our testing. We're going to check out the Unit 3. So I'm going to have this as scratch paper on the side here. So I can squiggle on here and get a new page when I need it. Highly encourage you to do that when you do the real thing. Obviously, that'll be on paper, not on a screen paper. But this will be similar. So this is the kind of questions that you will see. You'll see that it allows you to use a calculator. So when we do that, we click on the calculator button. All right. One thing I want to encourage you to do is when you look at these, make sure that you look at each of these first. You also have the exhibits. You might have a printed paper for that too, a reference sheet. All right. So this one talks about this triangle, and it's asking for the length in centimeters of AC. So we'll come back to that. Next one gives us two proportional relationships in the table. And then I have these drop downs to choose the rate of change in proportion A is blank than the rate of B. So more or less, and I got to choose how much more or less. All right. I got another one here where we talk about the slope. And we need to identify what that means. And then we have to find out what happens here with growing this plant. All right. Our next question here, this has a written response here. So we have two companies that we're comparing here. And we'll find something about them and compare. Now, since this is a written response, I might want to save this for the end actually. Notice how this is question 4. Looking here, see these check boxes? This means I could have more than one answer here. And I have an explanation here. Okay, so I might want to save this one also with that written explanation. Here again, I have check boxes. And this is talking about something about the slope here. So we'll have to check that out. However, no written explanation. So number 6. You know what? I'll go to review. Question 4, I'm gonna bookmark that. And I'm also going to bookmark number 5 because there was a written response. And then I'll move on. Question 7. So I see I have something to do here with a sale, 25% off. I have a written response here. And I have another written response here. I'm going to bookmark this one too. That might take a little bit longer. And I'm noticing this one. This is one of those drag and drop ones, at least to greatest rate of change. So look at this one. I have functions A, B, and C. Well, where are they? Function A is right here. Function B, they talk about here. I'm going to highlight that. And these are all tools that you can use on your test. Function C, they talk about here. So kind of tricky with where it is. All right. However, this one I don't have a written explanation for. All right. So I'm going to go back to question 1. And let's see if we can work on that. In triangle ABC, BD is perpendicular to AC. The dimensions are shown in centimeters. Now, if I'm working this out, I want to actually draw this on paper. And I might not draw it perfectly, but that's okay. So I have A, C, D, here's B. All right, it tells me this measurement is 8, and then I have a 10 and a 10. And it says it's perpendicular, so I know that this is a right angle. Now the tricky thing here is trying to memorize what happens here. I have a right triangle. Right triangle, look over here, Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so I know that when you do this test, you don't have different colors to use. So I'm going to use one color just to kind of show how I do this. So this triangle right here, I'm going to think about pulling out just this triangle. So I have 8, I have 10, and then I have this missing measure. Remember that with Pythagorean theorem, this is like A, B, and C. So I need to set this up properly. A squared, so 8 squared, plus B squared equals C squared. Now, if I don't remember these squares, I do have a calculator for this. So I'm going to go and do 8 times 8. I get 64. I also need a 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So I have 64 plus b squared equals 100. And right away, I'm noticing these are taking a minute to do, right? Now remember, there's 8 problems here. So if I'm kind of running out of time, maybe I'm picking and choosing the ones that I can do a little bit more efficiently. Okay. So if I subtract this, I got b squared equals 36. And then I need to square root. All right, if I don't remember that, I'm going to enter 36 and then hit the square root button that's right here. And I get 6. So b is 6. All right, now the other tricky thing about this problem, I want to know the length of AC. So we got to know this whole length here, left to right. So if this is 6, this has the same measures, that has to be 6. All together, this has got to be 12. All right, everyone, this is one of those tricky ones where you're going to enter 6 sometimes, but we need the whole thing. All right, let's check out the next one. We did not flag this one. This one is one that we can do without an explanation. So it says 2 different proportional relationships. So I have y equals 9x. And I have this other one here, proportion b. Okay. So I need to compare the rate of change. Now remember, rate of change is slope. This one's easy. My slope is my coefficient of x here. This is y equals mx plus b. My slope is 9. Okay. And over here, proportion b, since I have 0, 0, great. Because it's proportional with 0, 0, I can actually use any point. Change in y, so 34.5, over change in x. Okay. Now, just to show us, I could do minus 0 for these, right? Change in y over change in x, but minus 0 doesn't change anything. 34.5 over 3. And do not fear, I got a calculator to use here for this. 34.5 divide 3. I got 11.5. So my slope here is 11.5. So a little messy with that decimal. So let me fix that up. Okay. So I got 11.5 this time. I'm going to click over here. All right. So the rate of proportion A is 2.5. Oh, so A is going to be less. Okay. So I'm going to say A is less. How much less? It's 2.5 less. All right, this number 3 here, this was one where we just had to answer this. Not always that easy, but it is not one of those where we have to show work or an explanation. Eric planted a seedling in his garden and recorded its height each week. The equation can be used to estimate the height h in inches of the seedling by the end of the week w after it was planted. What does the slope of the graph of the equation h equals 3/4 w plus 9/4 represent? All right, so let's write down that equation. 3/4 w plus 9/4. Now, we want to know what the slope is here. This should look really similar. Sorry, I mean to use the same color here, okay? This should be really similar to y equals mx plus b. Okay, sometimes we use different variables instead of y and x, right? But the slope here coincides right here, 3/4. Okay, so what does this slope mean? Every week, it's getting 3/4 bigger. So the height in inches of the seedling after w weeks, no, that's not what the slope is. I'm going to use my eliminator. No, didn't mean to choose it. Eliminator. The height in inches of the seedling when Eric first planted it. So when he first planted it, it wasn't 3/4, it was 9/4. It was the intercept. The increase in height, that sounds right. Is the total increase. So actually slope is just how it changes, right? So it's the increase in height. We didn't have to know anything specific here, but we did have to know the idea of what slope is. Part B, the equation h equals 3/4 w plus 9/4 estimates the height to be 8.25 inches after how many weeks? All right, so here we're saying, hey, what if the height is 8.25? How many weeks did it take? Okay, you're going to see these fractions here. And the reason that there's fractions here is because sometimes we see the fractions and we just kind of give up. We're not going to give up though. Okay, let's go ahead and do our inverses, right? I would do minus 9/4 minus 9/4. Now, if I want to here, I can actually change those into decimals. Okay, 9 divided by 4 is 2.25. So if I want to think about it as 2.25 instead, that might be really helpful. And because we have our calculator, we do 9 divided by 4 to get 2.25, all right? So let's do 8.25 minus 2.25. I get 6. So 6 equals 3/4 W. Okay, and now I need to divide by this coefficient, divide by 3/4. So tricky thing here, remember to use the parentheses to divide by the full fraction 3/4. And I'm going to model that in here. 6 divided by parentheses 3/4, close parentheses. And I get 0.75 is 3/4. So I press equals, and I get 8. 6 divided by 3/4 is 8. So 8 is the number of weeks. And this says enter your answer in the box. We only want the number 8 here. All right, this is one we bookmarked where it's going to be a longer answer. This says enter your answers and your work or explanation in the space provided. All right, this other one we bookmarked. Enter your explanation for each selection in the space provided. So we do have to enter explanations here. This one we did not bookmark, so I'm going to do this one next. Okay, it says line T, here's the line, and triangle ECA, and triangle FDB are shown on the coordinate plane. What statements are true? All right, well, this is a linear equation, right? So it has to have the same slope, but we'll count just to make sure. So I'm going to look on here. The first triangle goes up 1, 2, 3. And then it goes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3/6. Okay, we know that that's the same as 1/2. Divide both by 3. The second triangle goes up 2. And then it goes to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So that will simplify to 1/2. So the slopes have to be the same. Okay, so the slope of AC, so A to C, is equal to BC. Okay, so anywhere here that makes a triangle up 1 over 2, that is true. So we got to be careful with these lines though. AC is equal to BD. So AC is still in line. BD, yes. The slope of AC is equal to the slope of line T. So AC is on the line. Line T, perfect. The slope of line T is equal to EC over AE. All right, so this is where it gets a little tricky with these fractions here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for you. EC over AE. See how these are taking a little while to do? This is not just choose some random answers. We got to actually look through these. Let's check out EC. EC goes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And AE goes up 1, 2, 3. Ooh, this is not right. That is not the same as 1/2. I'm going to use the answer eliminator to remind myself that I did that. Okay. The slope of line T is equal to FB over FD. So let's check out FB over FD. Now we want to check out each of these because sometimes it just could happen to be true. The first ones were definitely had to be true. But let's check this out. FB is 1, 2. Okay. FD is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually what we found out before. That is the same. So that works. All right. So I'm going to choose that answer this time. And now let's check out the last one. Slope of line T is equal to AE over FD. So let's try that out. AE over FD. Yeah, we really got to fill up our scratch paper for this, everybody, because there's just going to be work to do. AE up 1, 2, 3. FD over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is one where it seems like it shouldn't work because we're using two different triangles, and it does not. Okay, but what I wanted to encourage you to do is write it down anyway, because you will see some points where it just happens to work. Okay, they could have easily drawn the same triangles or drawn another triangle somewhere else. We just got to try it out. All right, this is another one that we flagged because it's a longer response. So let's do the shorter one next. All right, here we go. Functions A, B, C are linear functions. Now we're going to go by rate of change. All right, so rate of change, one way to do that is change in y over change in x. Okay, so since they're linear, I can choose any 2 points. So for function A, I'm going to choose my 3, 3 and 5, 7. All right, recall, here's my y's. So I'm going to go 7 minus 3. And if I go this way, I got to do it over here for the x's. So change in y over change in x, 5 minus 3. So I get 4 over 2. 4 over 2 simplifies to 2. So for A, the slope is 2. All right, let's check out for B. B gives us a y-intercept and an x-intercept. Well, the important thing is that they gave us 2 points. So let's do the same thing for B. I have 0, 3. I have negative 5, 0. Okay, here's my y's. 0 minus 3 over negative 5 minus 0. Remember, I'm going the same way each time. So I have negative 3 over negative 5. And then I have to remember, negative negative makes positive. So 3 over 5. So right now I know that A is going to be greater than B. So if I move these around, A is greater than B. Now the question is with function C. Function C is actually your easiest. It's y equals mx plus b. So it's just the coefficient of x here, 3. There's nothing to distribute here. If there was, I would have to do that. Okay, so now the question is, what is bigger, 3 or 2? Well, 3 is bigger than 2. So we're going to go BAC for this particular one. All right, that was question 8. So now I'm going to review and go back to these ones where I had to write something. Now this one actually might be less work, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so 2 utility companies sell electricity in units of kilowatt hours. The cost of electricity for company P is shown in the table. The cost of electricity for company M can be found by using the equation shown. All right, so actually when we have the equation like that, mx plus b, that one's easier because it's right there. Okay, so 0.15, I'm guessing that means 15 cents. Okay, company P, we got to do some work. So let's find our rate of change here. So I'm going to do the same thing we did before. We got 198 minus 150 divided by that change. So 1,650 minus 1,250. So I'm guessing we should get something like this, like a 15 cents, a 14 cents, and 18 cents, something like that. All right, let's use our calculator just to make sure we get this right, because I know that we can do this calculation, but if they give us a calculator, use it. All right, so I got 48 in the numerator divided by 1650 minus 1250. So 1650 minus 1250, 400. So remember, I want to divide these, and I'm going to get some sort of decimal because 48 is much smaller than 400. So 48 divided by 400, 0.12. So this one is 12 cents for a kilowatt hour. All right, let's check out the questions. Use the information provided to find the unit rate in dollars per kilowatt hour for each company. Show your work or explain your answers. Okay, so let's do that part first. we'll say company M is 15 cents per, and I want to make sure to type this in right, so I'm going to copy it straight from that kilowatt hour. This is the slope in the equation. So there's our explanation. For company P, we're going to show our work. So we did 198 minus 150, and that was 48. We also did, or let's write this as a, and we'll write that as a fraction at the end. Then we did 1,650 minus 1,250, and we got 400. Okay, I'm going to use this fraction button here. So we got 48 over 400, and that was 0.12. So company P sells electricity for 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Now that's kind of hard to fathom there, just to like make sense of, but we're going to use exactly what it is here. All right. Now the second one says find the total cost in dollars of buying 2,375 kilowatt hours of electricity from the least expensive company. All right. So it seems like there's a lot of work here, right? But from the least expensive, what's less? 12 cents or 15? So 12. All right. So if it's 12 cents, we're going to go company P. Okay. We have 2,375 kilowatt hours. So we're going to multiply that by 12 cents. All right. Let's go ahead and use our calculator. 2,375 times 0.12 equals 285. $285. All right, and let's have a good concluding sentence here. You would spend $285 for 2,375 kilowatt hours from company P. All right, a lot to that. Definitely a lot to that, but this is all about slope. Really cool. All right, the other one we bookmarked here. In a system of two linear equations, the lines represented by each equation have the same slope. All right, so I'm going to make a little drawing here just to remind us of what happens with the same slope. So if we graph something that has the same slope, a couple things could happen. They would run parallel if they have the same slope. That would be no solution. They never cross. The other thing that could happen is it's like that, and then the other one also has the same intercept, so they're actually on top of each other. So that would be infinite. Okay, none of these other options would happen. So explaining each selection, so we could say there could be no solution if they have the same slope and different y-intercepts. And then we could also say they could have infinitely many solutions if they have the same slope and the same y-intercept. That just changed itself to be italics when I hit the dash, but that's all right. So this one actually wasn't too bad. It was testing our knowledge of knowing what slope is. This one we already did. Now number 7, this was the last one. So when I click review, yeah, this was the last one that we did not do. The owner of a company's computer store is offering a discount on a computer sold in the store. The original price, $598, 25% off, and 8% tax after the discount. The owner offers a payment plan where the total cost of the computer is paid in 6 equal monthly payments. Determine the amount of each monthly payment. Show your work or explain. Enter the monthly payment and your work or explanation. Okay, so it says and your work or the explanation. So I'm always going to choose the side of I'm going to show my work. Then it says a different computer is advertised at 40% off. So it looks like we're going to do kind of the same thing here. All right, let's go ahead and work out this first one. So I have $598, and there's a 25% off. So I'm going to do times 0.25. All right, so let's go ahead and use our calculator. 598 times 0.25. So I'm going to save 149.50, which means I got to subtract it. So 598 minus the savings, 149.5. So I'm actually going to pay 448.50. Now there's a tax of 8%. So times 8% is 35.88. Okay, so I have to add that to the 448.50. So this is my total after tax, 484.38. So that's how much the thing will cost me. Okay, so and it says the owner offers a payment plan where the total cost of the computer is paid in 6 equal monthly payments. Okay, so I'm going to divide that by 6, and I'll get my final answer here. So let's type in what we did. So we did a couple of things here. We did the price $598 times 0.25, right? And we got 149.50. Okay, to keep showing our work here. And also when you expand this out, I have the split screen here, right? It won't look weird like that. So now I'm going to do 598 minus 149.50, and I get 448.50. And then we did 448.50 is just typing it all again to show our work, right? Times 0.08. And then we got 35.88. Then we added that 448.50 plus 35.88. So my total cost is 484.38. Now I'll have to take that and divide by 6 to find out what my monthly payment is. So 484.38 divide 6, and I get 80.73. Just going to scooch that over, 80.73, and we're going to write, we will pay $80.73 each month. Okay, so when we break it down like that, not too bad, but there is a lot to that. Look at all that work we did, and be proud of it too. All right. A different computer is advertised at 40% off the original price. After the discount, the tax is $44.64. Determine the total price of this computer after the discount and tax are applied. All right, so in this one, we're given the tax. We're given this $44.64. Show your work or explain your answer. Determine the original price of this computer. Show your work or explain your answer. All right. So the tax is $44.64. So we're assuming that the tax rate is the same, the 8%. Okay. So we got to work backwards. So this is 8% of something. So this is 0.08. This is where we're going to use a variable, x. All right, so to determine what the price is after the discount, we have to divide by that 8% this time. Tricky. Okay, but we're going backwards. We're reversing everything we did before. And this is where this one gets a little tough, but we can do it. 44.64 divided by 0.08. So the price of this computer after the discount is $558. All right. So that was after the discount. So, but it wants the total price. So we'll have to add that to 44.64 plus 44.64. All right, so let's start typing this in. So we're going to do 44.64 divided by 0.08 equals 558. And then 558 plus 44.64. We're going to do that over here. Plus 44.64 equals 602.64. Now, this is another one where it says enter your answers and your work or explanations. So here's our work, and then we can do the answer. So we can say the price with tax is $602.64. Or $602.64. Now we need to determine the original price of the computer. All right, so again, this is a little tricky. For the original price, we want to go to the price without tax. Okay, and it was 40% off. All right, so once we know that 558 is 40% off, I also know that instead of 40% off, it's 60% of the original price. So we're going to take 558 and divide it by 60%, or 0.60, to find what the original price was. So let's go ahead and use our calculator again. 558, so before tax, divide by 0.6 to get the price before the sale. So 930 would be the original price here. Okay, now we saved 40%, so it's pretty significant. We went down to 558. All right, so the original price of the computer, and that's it. Okay, so now we'll write an explanation for that. We'll say the original price is 60, and the original price is 558 divided by 60%, which is $930. So got discounted down. We still have to pay tax, but yeah, got discounted down too. All right. So I think that does it for this practice test. So hopefully that helps you. Typically we see the same kind of questions on these each year. So yeah, hope that helps. Review this as much as you need to. You're going to realize it takes a while, but you can do it. So good luck, get some good rest, and we'll work hard at this.